The cream-colored envelope sat on my kitchen counter like a time bomb, ticking down to detonation. I already knew what was inside, my sister Elena's wedding invitation. What I wasn't expecting was the handwritten note that slipped out as I opened it. Penelope. I hope you understand that, given our history and the current situation, it would be best if you didn't attend the wedding. I want my special day to be drama-free. Love, Elena. My fingers trembled as I reread the words, my pulse pounding in my ears. Uninvited, from my own sister's wedding, delivered with Elena's trademark blend of saccharine kindness and razor-sharp cruelty. I'm Penelope, by the way, the younger, less accomplished sister, at least in Elena's eyes. At 28, I thought I'd grown immune to her games. Clearly, I was wrong. My phone buzzed. Mom calling. Of course, she knew. Elena had probably made sure of that. Honey, I just spoke to your sister, Mom said hesitantly. She told me about the note. Save it, Mom, I cut in, my voice wobbling despite my best effort. I got the message loud and clear. She's just under a lot of pressure. You know how she gets when she's planning something big. I let out a dry laugh. Right, and that totally justifies shutting her only sister out of the wedding. Makes perfect sense. Penelope, please, can't you two just what, Mom? Pretend everything's fine? Like we did when she accidentally ruined my college graduation party? Or when she humiliated me at Dad's birthday, saying my promotion was just nepotism? Silence. I have to go. I hung up before she could find a way to excuse Elena's behavior. Needing air, I grabbed my keys and headed to the park near my apartment. The crisp autumn wind helped, but the sting of betrayal still simmered under my skin. That's when I saw Victor, Elena's fiancé, alone on a bench, turning something over in his hands. Our grandmother's sapphire necklace, the family heirloom Elena had been bragging about wearing at the wedding. Penelope. He pocketed the necklace quickly, guilt flickering across his face. Didn't expect to see you here. Just out for some fresh air. I forced a polite smile. Beautiful necklace, isn't it? His brow furrowed. It's incredible. Elena mentioned it's been in your family for generations. 4, to be exact, I said, sitting beside him, though I'm surprised she told you the real story. She usually prefers to edit things. Victor tilted his head. What do you mean? I feigned surprise. Oh? She didn't tell you about great-grandmother Isabella and how she got it? It's quite the story. Victor leaned in, intrigued. Elena just said it was passed down. There's more to it? The interest in his eyes told me everything I needed to know. He wasn't just marrying Elena, he was enamored with the legacy, the history, and Elena had likely fed him a carefully curated version. Maybe another time, I said, standing, wouldn't want to cause any drama before the big day. The bitterness in my voice wasn't subtle. Wait, why would you? He hesitated. Did something happen? Ask your fiancé, I said smoothly. I'm sure she has a perfectly reasonable explanation for why I won't be there. As I walked away, I could feel his bewildered gaze following me. And for the first time since opening that note, I didn't just feel hurt. I felt powerful. Back home, I pulled out my old family album. There it was, great-grandmother Isabella, draped in the sapphire necklace, standing beside the man who had given it to her. Not her husband. Her lover. The man she had chosen over societal expectations, over family duty. The necklace wasn't just an accessory, it was a symbol of defiance, of choosing truth over appearances. Elena had no idea. She had always been too preoccupied with her perfect image to dig deeper. Another buzz, a text from Mom. Please don't make this harder than it needs to be. I ran my fingers over Isabella's picture, a slow smile curling my lips. Sorry, Mom, I whispered. Elena started this. Now, I was going to finish it. Because sometimes, karma needs a little push. At the daily grind, what? She uninvited you from her wedding? Gwen slammed her coffee mug down with enough force to make heads turn. Keep your voice down, I muttered, though secretly, I appreciated the outrage, and yes, complete with a condescending little note about keeping her special day drama-free. That manipulative little, Gwen took a calming breath. Okay, but what exactly does she mean by our history? What history? I swirled my spoon in my now-cold latte. Take your pick. The time she told my high school boyfriend I was cheating on him? Or when she convinced my parents my art degree was a waste so they wouldn't help me pay for it? Ugh, I remember that. You worked 2 jobs to put yourself through school. And now I'm lead designer at Mitchell Associates while she's still job hopping, trying to find her passion. I made air quotes. But somehow, I'm the family disappointment. My phone buzzed again. Victor, can we talk about what you said in the park? Gwen peeked at my screen. Victor's texting you? Oh, Elena is going to flip. Good. I showed her the message. He was fascinated by the heirloom. Elena had only given him the sugar-coated version. But I knew the truth. And I was about to make sure he did too. I nodded. Elena probably spun some fairy tale about the necklace, how it symbolizes loyalty, tradition, and family honor. If only Victor knew the truth. Gwen's eyes widened. Pen, tell me you're not thinking what I think you are. Why not? I cut in. Elena wants to maintain her perfect little illusion? Fine. Let's see how she handles reality crashing down. This is risky, Gwen warned. Are you sure you want to go there? Before I could answer, my phone rang. Dad's name lit up the screen. I sighed. Hey, Dad. Penelope, your mother is upset. His voice carried that familiar weariness. Can't you just make peace with your sister? I clenched the phone tighter. Make peace for what, exactly? You know how much this wedding means to her. If I just what, Dad? Accept being treated like I don't matter, again? That's not fair. Penelope, your sister. No, what's not fair is having parents who never once stood up for me, who always let Elena get away with everything. My voice wavered, but I didn't let up. I have to go. I ended the call, my hands shaking with frustration. Gwen reached across the table, squeezing my arm. You okay? Better than okay. I opened my laptop. Actually, I think it's time to write a letter. Not to Elena, no, she wouldn't listen anyway. To Victor, since he's so interested in family history. I'll make sure he knows everything Elena's been keeping from him. Gwen hesitated. Pen, what exactly are you planning? I started typing. Remember the engagement party? The night Elena disappeared for an hour? No way. Gwen leaned forward. You don't think? I don't think. I know. I saw her. My fingers moved quickly across the keys. And that's just the beginning. Gwen exhaled sharply. This could blow up in your face. Are you ready for that? I thought about Elena's note, about the years of whispered insults, public humiliations, and our parents brushing it all aside. The necklace was given to our great-grandmother by her lover, I said, still typing. She chose truth over keeping up appearances. Maybe it's time someone else in this family did the same. My phone buzzed. Elena, Mom says you're upset. Don't make this difficult. Penny, it's my wedding. I showed Gwen the message. See? Still trying to control the story. What are you going to say to her? I shut my laptop with a small, cold smile. Nothing. I'll let Victor ask the questions. And the necklace? Oh, she'll get it. I took a slow sip of coffee, along with the truth she spent years trying to bury. Gwen shook her head, but I caught the hint of a smirk. You're either fearless or completely insane. Maybe both. I grabbed my things and stood. But one thing was certain, Elena was about to learn that karma doesn't care about wedding plans. The letter. The blinking cursor stared back at me. I had spent the last 3 hours crafting each sentence, making sure the message was just right, concerned, yet undeniable. I took a deep breath and read aloud. Dear Victor. I've wrestled with whether or not to send this, but as someone who cares about both you and our family's legacy, I feel you deserve the truth. My phone lit up with a text from Tobias. You sure about this? I ignored it and kept writing. The truth about Elena was a house of cards, and I was about to knock the first one over. The sapphire necklace you admired isn't just an heirloom, it represents a choice that altered our family's history. Our great-grandmother Isabella didn't receive it from her husband, as Elena may have told you. It was a gift from her lover, the man she chose over social expectations and family duty. My thoughts drifted to the engagement party. I had gone looking for Elena to remind her about the champagne toast, only to find her in the garden, deep in conversation with James, her ex. The way she stepped back when she saw me, the hushed tension in their voices. I added another paragraph. Speaking of choices, I think you should know about the night of your engagement party. Elena's sudden disappearance wasn't just a coincidence. I saw her with James, the same James she promised she'd cut ties with months ago. My pulse pounded as I typed the next part. But perhaps more concerning is what happened to the wedding rings, your grandmother's rings, the ones that mysteriously vanished. Elena pawned them 3 months ago. I have the receipt. The doorbell rang, making me jump. Through the peephole, I saw my mother standing there, clutching her purse. I sighed. saving the letter before heading to the door. The confrontation. Penelope, open the door, we need to talk. I took a steadying breath before unlocking it. Mom swept inside, her expression tense. This has to stop. Elena is falling apart over this. She barely ate at the cake tasting today. Oh no, I said dryly. Did she at least manage to criticize the baker? Mom shot me a warning look. This isn't funny. No, you're right, I agreed. It's hilarious. She banishes me from her wedding, then plays the victim when I don't take it lying down. Mom sighed, rubbing her temples. Why can't you just let her have this? It's her day. Because she made sure it wasn't mine, I snapped. She lied, she manipulated, and I'm done pretending it's okay. Mom sank onto my couch, looking exhausted. She's your sister. Is she? I folded my arms. Because sisters don't sabotage job interviews. They don't spread rumors about mental health issues. Mom frowned. What are you talking about? I pulled out my phone, opening an email. Here, read it. She hesitated before scanning the screen. The email Elena had sent to my dream job, warning them about my unreliable nature and emotional instability. Her face paled. I didn't know. Of course you didn't, I said quietly, because no one ever sees what Elena does. They only see what she wants them to. Mom opened her mouth, then closed it, looking genuinely shaken. You know what? I said, walking back to my laptop. Penelope, please, what are you doing? I met her eyes, just making sure the truth finally comes out. And this time, no one, not even Elena, was going to stop me. I turned back to the letter. The final paragraph had to land perfectly. Victor. I'm not writing this to hurt anyone, but you deserve the full truth before making a decision about your future. The necklace you admired is more than just a family heirloom, it's a symbol of truth breaking through deception. Maybe it's only fitting that it serves that purpose once again. My phone buzzed with another message from Tobias. Victor's asking questions about Elena's past. Whatever you're doing, it's working. I smiled, adding one last line to the letter. P.S. Ask Elena about the trust fund she's been keeping from you, the one meant for her fresh start after the wedding. That part was a gamble. I had no proof, but I knew my sister, her reaction would tell Victor everything he needed to know. I printed the letter, folded it carefully, and tucked it inside an envelope along with a photocopy of the pawnshop receipt. The original necklace box sat waiting on my desk, its moment fast approaching. My phone rang. Elena's name flashed across the screen. I let it go to voicemail. Penny, please, she pleaded, her voice trembling with forced tears. Whatever you're doing, just stop. Can't you be happy for me for once? I deleted the message and picked up the necklace box. Oh, Elena, I murmured, you're about to have a wedding no one will forget. Everything was in motion. Now, I just needed Tobias to play his part. Delivery. I don't know about this, Pen. Tobias frowned, staring at the elegantly wrapped box on my kitchen counter. It feels wrong. Wrong? I handed him a coffee. More wrong than Elena kicking me out of her wedding? More wrong than her lying to Victor for years? He took a sip, avoiding my gaze. Victor's my friend. Exactly, I said. Don't you think he deserves to know the truth about the woman he's about to marry? Sunlight streamed through the kitchen window, glinting off the silver wrapping paper. Inside, nestled in black velvet, the sapphire necklace and my letter waited. My phone vibrated. Elena again, her 10th call since yesterday. She's panicking, I said, holding up the screen. She knows something's coming. Tobias exhaled. And you're sure about this? I nodded. This is your chance to help Victor before it's too late. He ran a hand through his hair. What exactly do I say when I hand it to him? Just say you found it outside his door. It was marked urgent. That's it. I pressed the box into his hands. The letter will take care of the rest. And if he asks who it's from? He won't need to. My phone rang again. This time, it was Dad. I declined the call. Your whole family's losing their minds, aren't they? Tobias asked. I smirked. They always do when Elena's losing control. Tobias stood, gripping the box. I should go. Victor's at the hotel, making last-minute arrangements. Perfect timing. I walked him to the door. And Tobias? He paused. Thank you. He hesitated. Just, promise me this won't destroy him. It'll hurt, I admitted, but better now than after they're married. After Tobias left, I paced my apartment, my phone never leaving my hand. The rehearsal dinner was tonight. By then, Victor would have the truth in his hands. A text from Gwen popped up. Elena just called me, sobbing, she's scared, Pen. Good, she should be. Another call, Mom. I answered. Elena's in pieces, she said, skipping any greeting. She thinks you're trying to ruin her wedding. I laughed. Funny how she suddenly cares about my actions when she's the one who cut me out. Honey, whatever you're planning. I have to go, Mom. Elena needs you more than I do, she always has. I hung up, my hands trembling. The apartment felt stifling. I grabbed my keys and headed out, my feet taking me to the park, the same place I'd first seen Victor holding the necklace. A text from Tobias. Package delivered, he's opening it now. I sat on a bench, my heart hammering. This was it, no turning back. 20 minutes later, another text. Holy, he's reading it, Pen, his face. What exactly did you write? I didn't reply. Instead, I opened my messages and typed a new one. Elena, remember when you said I'd never be important enough to affect your life? Watch me. Her response was instant. What have you done? Before I could answer, Tobias called. Pen, listen, Victor just called Elena, he's demanding to see her. He brought up the necklace, the pawned rings, and, he hesitated, the trust fund. I grinned. So it's true. How the hell did you know about that? Tobias asked. Victor said she completely lost it when he mentioned it. I didn't know, I guessed. I leaned back against the bench, exhaling. Elena always has a backup plan. The rehearsal dinner is about to be interesting. I smirked. Very. My phone exploded with messages. Mom, Dad, Elena, even distant relatives who somehow knew something was wrong. I turned my phone off and looked up at the sky. The clouds had darkened. A storm was coming, both literally and figuratively. I hope you're watching, Great-Grandmother Isabella, I whispered. Your necklace is about to expose another truth. As I walked home, I pictured the look on Elena's face when she read my text. For the first time in our lives, she wasn't the one in control. She couldn't twist the story to her advantage. The truth was already spreading, igniting like a slow-burning fuse. And tonight, at the rehearsal dinner, it would reach the explosion. I almost felt bad for her. Almost. The rehearsal dinner, the Grand Hotel buzzed with conversation, glasses clinking, and murmured speculation. Then Gwen's message came through. You need to see this. Elena's a wreck, Victor won't speak to her, and your parents are scrambling to keep everything together. Get to the hotel bar, now. I was already there. Tucked away in a shadowed corner booth, watching it all unfold. And for once, I was the one pulling the strings. I chose my seat carefully, a perfect vantage point where I could watch the unraveling chaos through the glass doors of the main dining room. My masterpiece was unfolding in real time. Another gin and tonic? The bartender asked. Just water. I want to remember every second of tonight. Through the doors, I spotted Elena in her designer ivory dress, trying, and failing, to get Victor's attention. He kept turning away, his grip tight around what I suspected was my letter. My phone buzzed. Tobias. This is brutal. Victor just asked her about James. She's denying everything. I watched as Elena seized Victor's arm, pulling him toward a secluded corner. Even from a distance, I could see her perfectly crafted makeup streaking down her face. Quite the spectacle, isn't it? I startled. Dad had appeared beside my booth, looking older than I'd ever seen him. Shouldn't you be in there, comforting your favorite daughter? I asked, not bothering to look at him. He slid into the seat across from me. The pawn shop receipt, he said quietly. That was a clever touch. She really did sell those rings. Dad, did you know that? His sigh was heavy. No, just like I didn't know about the email she sent to your potential employer, or the trust fund. Beyond the glass, Mom was doing damage control, trying to steer guests away from Elena and Victor's heated exchange. Your sister, Dad began. Don't, I interrupted. No more excuses. His jaw tensed. I was going to say that she's not the person I thought she was. He exhaled. Neither are you, for that matter. A sharp outburst made us turn back to the dining room. Victor had raised his voice, loud enough for it to carry through the doors. The trust fund? Were you ever planning to tell me about that? Or were you just going to wait until after the wedding to clean me out? Elena's reply was too quiet to catch, but her desperate gesture said it all. Dad watched the scene unfold. Should we step in? He murmured. I gave him a cold look. Like you stepped in all those times she hurt me? He flinched. Penelope. No, Dad. Elena made her choices. Now she gets to live with them. My phone buzzed again, an unknown number. I opened the message. A photo of Elena and James at the engagement party, his hand on her waist, the two of them whispering in the garden. Below it. Thought Victor might want to see this. James. I showed Dad the screen. Looks like I'm not the only one tired of Elena's games. Penelope, don't, Dad warned, that would destroy her. I let out a bitter laugh. Funny how everyone's worried about her being destroyed, but no one cared about how she's destroyed me. Through the glass, Victor stormed out of the dining room. Elena ran after him, pleading. Mom stood frozen, helpless. Around them, guests whispered, phones already out, capturing the downfall. Dad sighed. The wedding's tomorrow. Is this really what you want? Before I could answer, the doors burst open. Elena. Her face was streaked with tears and mascara, her breath ragged. When she spotted me, she went still. You, she hissed, you did this. You ruined everything. I stood slowly, meeting her glare. No, Elena, you did this. I just made sure everyone knew who you really are. She lunged at me, but Dad grabbed her arm. Elena, stop, you're making a scene. She let out a shrill, humorless laugh. A scene? My wedding is falling apart, and you're worried about a scene? Hotel staff hovered nearby. Guests had trailed in from the dining room, eager for more gossip. Phones lifted. How does it feel? I asked, my voice calm. To have everyone see the real you? You, her voice cracked. You bitter, jealous little. She stopped short as Victor stepped into the doorway. He was holding his phone. James sent me some interesting photos, he said, his voice icily composed. Care to explain? Elena's face drained of color. Victor, please, I can explain everything. Save it. He turned toward the exit, then paused. Oh, and the wedding's off. I'll be making the announcement myself. As he walked away, Elena crumpled into a chair, sobbing. Mom rushed to her side, while Dad stood motionless, caught between us, torn, as always. I grabbed my purse. Karma's funny, isn't it? I mused. Sometimes, it just needs a little push. Dad's voice was quiet. Was it worth it? I looked back at Elena, surrounded by the wreckage of her carefully built life. Ask me tomorrow. As I stepped out into the night, my phone buzzed one last time. A text from Gwen. Holy sh*t, you actually did it. I had. And tomorrow, at exactly 2 p.m., the time the wedding was supposed to start, I planned to be at home, wearing the sapphire necklace, raising a glass to great-grandmother Isabella. Some traditions deserve to be honored, after all. The morning after, the day of Elena's wedding dawned bright and clear, a perfect day for a ceremony that wasn't going to happen. Or so I thought. My phone rang at 7 a.m. Gwen's voice was breathless. Turn on the news, now. I fumbled for the remote. And there was Elena. Standing outside the hotel, looking composed and radiant, despite last night's wreckage. The wedding will proceed as planned, she told reporters smoothly. Any rumors of cancellation are completely false. Victor and I have worked through a minor misunderstanding. I sat up straight. Minor misunderstanding? It gets worse, Gwen said. Check your email. I opened my inbox. A message from Elena. To our beloved guests. Due to a family member's attempts to sabotage our special day, security will be strictly enforced. Anyone not on the approved list will be removed. I gritted my teeth. She's actually going through with it. But Victor called me 10 minutes ago, Gwen said. She convinced him the photos were fake, that you made everything up out of jealousy. My doorbell rang. Through the peephole, Tobias. He looked frantic. I have to call you back, I told Gwen. I opened the door, and Tobias strode in. Victor's not answering me. Elena's family is saying you doctored those pictures of her and James. They're telling people you're, he hesitated, mentally unstable. Of course they are. I sank onto the couch. That's Elena's favorite trick, make people question reality. My phone buzzed again. A message from Mom. Elena is willing to forgive you if you publicly apologize. Please, honey, don't make this worse. I let out a hollow laugh. Forgive me? I let out a bitter laugh. She's the one who. Another buzz. This time, it was James. Elena's threatening to sue me if I don't say the photos were fake. I'm sorry, but I can't afford a legal battle. Tobias, reading over my shoulder, exhaled sharply. She's covering her tracks. And it's working. I grabbed my keys. Not for long. Where's Victor now? At the hotel, getting ready. Elena has people keeping an eye on him. Then we're going there. The hotel lobby was in chaos when we arrived. Guests hovered in clusters, whispering, scrolling through their phones. Security stood at every entrance, on high alert. There's no way we're getting upstairs, Tobias murmured. We don't need to. Across the room, I spotted a familiar figure, Victor's mother, her expression troubled. I walked toward her. Mrs. Russell, I said gently, we need to talk about your son. She turned to me, recognition dawning. You're Elena's sister, the one who told him the truth. I cut in, please, just give me 5 minutes. I laid everything out, the pawnshop receipt, the email Elena sent to sabotage my job offer, messages proving the trust fund's existence. And finally, the rings. Her fingers trembled as she held the receipt. She told Victor they were stolen. Mom? Victor's voice cut through the noise. He stood behind her, dressed in his tuxedo, his face a mixture of confusion and exhaustion. What's going on? His mother turned, holding up the receipt. These were your grandmother's rings. Elena told you they were stolen. Victor hesitated. She explained that, but the uncertainty in his voice betrayed him. Did she? I asked, pulling out my phone. Then why did she threaten to sue James if the photos were fake? I showed him the message. His expression darkened. Where is she? Bridal suite, 7th floor. I handed him the stack of evidence. This time, don't let her twist the truth. He took the papers and turned toward the elevators. His mother squeezed my hand before following him. Tobias watched them go. Think it'll work? Before I could answer, Elena's voice rang through the lobby. Security, that's her, my sister, get her out of here. 2 guards started toward us, but then, ding. The elevator doors slid open. Victor stepped out. His voice thundered through the lobby. Stop, everyone, stop right now. All eyes turned to him. Elena, in her wedding dress, ran after him, panic in her eyes. Victor, please, she begged, don't do this. Do what? His voice was cold. Tell the truth? That you pawned my grandmother's rings? That you planned to marry me for my money and then leave? The lobby fell into stunned silence. Guests raised their phones, capturing the moment. They're lying, Elena shrieked, pointing at me. She's always been jealous. She wants to ruin everything. Victor's gaze didn't waver. No, Elena, you ruined everything. He turned to the crowd. The wedding is off, for good this time. I apologize for any inconvenience. Gasps rippled through the room. The whispers turned into a murmur of shock. I met Elena's eyes across the room. For the first time, real fear flickered in them. Her perfect world was crumbling, and there was no salvaging it. The final blow. The lobby erupted into chaos, guests whispering, recording, texting updates to those who hadn't arrived yet. You don't understand, Elena sobbed, grabbing Victor's arm. I did it all for us, for us. He yanked his arm away. The trust fund? The rings? Meeting James behind my back? It meant nothing, it was just what? A new voice cut through the noise. James. He stood at the entrance, arms crossed, eyes steely. Just like what you did 3 years ago, he said, when you were engaged to me? Elena went rigid. Her voice dropped to a whisper. What are you doing here? James stepped forward. Telling the truth, finally. Victor's mother turned to Elena, horrified. What is he talking about? He's lying, Elena shrieked. Penelope put him up to this. Actually, James pulled out his phone. I have the texts, all of them, including your little plans for after the wedding. Victor took the phone, scrolling through messages. Elena lunged, trying to snatch it away. He pulled back, his face hardening. Once I have access to his accounts, he read aloud, voice shaking, we can finally be together. The crowd gasped. Someone whispered, is this being recorded? It's not what you think, Elena pleaded. I can explain. Like you explained the rings? Victor's mother stepped forward, gripping the pawnshop receipt. My mother's wedding rings, Elena, they were meant to be passed down through generations. I needed the money for what? Victor cut in. The secret apartment you leased last month? Yeah, James told me about that, too. Elena spun toward me, her eyes wild. This is your fault, she screamed. You've always hated me. I tilted my head. No, Elena, I just finally stopped covering for you. Her breath hitched. Security, she screamed, Remove them all. But the head of security stepped forward, shaking his head. Actually, per Mr. Russell's request, you're the one being escorted out. Hotel policy regarding fraudulent events. Elena's mouth fell open. But I'm the bride. Victor's voice was quiet but firm. Not anymore. The last lie. Dad's voice cut through the commotion. How long? He asked, his voice raw. How long have you been lying to us? Daddy, please. He took a step back. The trust fund, he continued, that was your grandmother's money, wasn't it? Left specifically for both you and Penelope? I froze. What? Dad pulled an envelope from his pocket. Elena told us you signed away your half, but she forged your signature. My stomach dropped. The final piece of the puzzle. James stepped closer, his voice sharp. Should I tell them about the other engagements? Victor's mother paled. Other engagements? James nodded. 3 of them. Each time, she got access to their accounts, then vanished. The room held its breath. I was lucky, James continued. I found out before she could wipe me out. Victor exhaled, shaking his head. You never loved me, did you? Elena opened her mouth, but no words came out. Her silence was the answer. And just like that, whatever hold she had on him shattered. Victor turned away. It's over, Elena, all of it. For the first time in her life, my sister had lost. And there was no one left to save her. I saw through it all. Before the wedding, Elena's eyes darted around, frantic, like a trapped animal. Then, just as quickly, she straightened, smoothing the fabric of her pristine white gown. Fine, she said coolly, you want the truth? I took what I deserved, what this family never gave me, and you know what? I'd do it all over again. That's enough, a firm voice cut in. Hotel security stepped forward. Ma'am, you need to come with us. As they led her away, she turned back one last time, venom in her eyes. I hate you, she spat at me. I always have. You were the talented one, the special one. Everyone loved you, without you even trying. The room fell into stunned silence. That was what this was about? I stepped closer, shaking my head. You stole, lied, ruined lives. And for what? Because you were jealous of me? You don't get it, she whispered. You never understood what it was like, living in your shadow. My shadow? I let out a short, bitter laugh. Elena, while you were busy trying to destroy me, I was just trying to survive you. Security led her through the revolving doors, her white dress disappearing from sight. Victor turned to the crowd, his expression regretful. I'm sorry you all came for nothing. The hotel will fully refund your stays. As guests dispersed, Mom approached me hesitantly. We didn't know, she murmured, not about any of it. We should have. Yes, I cut her off. You should have. Dad held up the trust fund documents. We'll fix this. Penelope, the money, everything. I shook my head. It was never about the money, Dad. I turned to leave, but Victor called after me. Penelope, thank you, for everything. I touched the sapphire necklace inside my purse. Sometimes, the truth is all we have. The consequences. Outside, the perfect wedding day sunshine felt ironic. Somewhere in the city, Elena was already planning her next scheme. But this time, she wouldn't have a perfect family facade to hide behind. Sometimes, karma doesn't just tap on the door. It kicks it down. I sat alone in my apartment that evening, holding the sapphire necklace up to the light. Its deep blue stones seemed to hold every secret our family had buried. My phone buzzed. Gwen. Want company? Before I could reply, there was a knock at my door. Through the peephole, I saw Mom and Dad. I opened it but didn't invite them in. The police called, Dad said quietly. They found Elena, at the airport. She was trying to leave the country. Of course, she was. I stepped aside, finally letting them enter. Did they arrest her? Victor pressed charges for fraud, Mom said, sinking onto my couch. And James? He found others, Dad sighed. Former fiancés who want justice. She's going to prison, Mom whispered. Real prison, not some luxury retreat. I placed the necklace on the coffee table. Good. Mom wiped at her eyes. Is any of this good? The truth coming out? Yes. I met her gaze. Elena finally facing consequences? That's excellent. Dad picked up the necklace, turning it over in his hands. You know, Isabella wore this the day she left her arranged marriage. They called her a disgrace, but all she did was tell the truth. Unlike Elena, I said. Unlike us, Mom corrected. We ignored the signs. We let her hurt you. We failed you, Penelope. My phone buzzed again. A message from Victor. Found more evidence in Elena's apartment. She's been doing this for years. You saved me from losing everything. I showed it to them. Dad exhaled. She would have destroyed him, just like she tried to destroy you. I nodded. The difference is, I fought back. Mom reached for my hand. We should have fought for you, she said softly. All those times she hurt you. We looked away because it was easier than facing the truth. That she's a sociopath, Dad said grimly. That we failed both our daughters, Mom added. We failed Elena by never holding her accountable, and we failed you by never protecting you. I let out a slow breath. I never wanted revenge, I admitted. Not really. I paused. I just wanted the truth to come out. Dad placed the necklace in my hands. This belongs to you, not because of inheritance or tradition, but because you understand what it really means. I looked down at it. What does it mean? That sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is tell the truth, even when it costs you everything. He gave a sad smile. Isabella would be proud. The final goodbye. My phone rang. Elena, calling from jail. I put it on speaker. Penny. Her voice was small, broken. I need your help, please. I can't go to prison. You should have thought about that before you scammed people. I'm your sister. I shook my head. No, Elena, a sister protects, supports, loves. You only destroyed. Mom, Dad? Dad took the phone. Elena, he said, his voice steady, we love you, we always will, but it's time you face the consequences of your choices. Daddy, no. I hung up. Mom let out a shaky breath. What happens now? Now? I fastened the necklace around my neck. Now, we start over, with the truth this time. Mom hesitated. Will you ever forgive us? I thought for a moment. I don't know, I said honestly, but I'm willing to try, if you are. Dad nodded. No more looking the other way, no more excuses. My phone lit up with messages, Gwen, Tobias, Victor, even James. All checking in. I held it up for my parents to see. Look at that, Mom whispered. All these people, who saw you, even when we didn't. The real me. Not the version Elena created. Not the one my parents accepted. Just me. Dad stood, pausing at the door. Thank you, Penelope, he said, for being brave enough to tell the truth, even when we weren't brave enough to hear it. After they left, I stood by the window, watching the city lights flicker on. The sapphire pendant felt warm against my skin, like it had finally found its rightful place. My phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. A photo. Great-grandmother Isabella, wearing the same necklace. Her expression was fierce, defiant. Below it, a simple caption. Sometimes, the truth sets everyone free. I smiled, fingers tracing the pendant. Elena wanted a perfect wedding. A perfect life. A perfect lie. Instead, she got exactly what she deserved. The truth. And me? I got something even better than revenge. I got my life back. My voice back. My truth back. Because sometimes, karma doesn't just come full circle. Sometimes, it leaves you with exactly what you need. Not what you wanted, but what you deserved all along. The sapphire shimmered in the fading light. Its story finally complete. And mine? Mine was just beginning. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay stunned.